people speak up. The private industries often, they appear to do better because they lie. And so they're not always more efficient. And the machines unions with all the experience they have, and we're going to be killing middle-class jobs to say it's a middle-class salaries when they cut healthcare and everything up top. Yeah, and I'll admit too, when you talk about the bus, crowded buses, I think one thing that might help is if you could, on more stations, have the digital things say when the next bus is coming, because if the bus is crowded and the next bus is coming in 5 minutes, you may not get on the bus. And parked cars too, they talked about the blind last time. They also help, there were also cars in the bus stop, so, or even interference for the buses moving and for non-disabled people.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to commend you on your commitment to tackling this. I understand that this is a number-crunching task. But however, actually, I forgot to introduce myself. So I'm Stacey Mitchell. I'm the director of the Lynn Council on Aging. I also represent the North Shore Council on Aging, and I sit on the at-large board seat of the Massachusetts Council on Aging. So representing Council on Aging, and most importantly, all the seniors across the state of Massachusetts. Like I said, I commend you that this is a fiscal task that you must accomplish, but I'm not going to reiterate all the stories of why it's so important not to cut it. We're absolutely opposed to it. But I would like to offer the Council on Aging's intelligence to work with you to come to a resolution on how we can find other alternatives or other solutions on how we can work together to make this happen. My next statement is going to be very strong and painful. When we increased the ride fare, it was detrimental to the seniors, and I know that's been reversed, but when you cut seniors, the message that you send to them is go home and die. Thank you.
Followed by Michael Costa.
Good afternoon. My name is Richard Crone-Dexter, representative to the MBTA Advisory Board. Last week, Governor Baker announced that weekend commuter rail will no longer be targeted for suspension. Instead, the governor said, we're going to try to operate it more efficiently. I agree. That's why I'm hopeful that the South Shore Alliance will see scheduling improvements in the springtime. Spring is a time when people flock to Boston to enjoy outdoor sporting events, concerts, and other special events. But also be a perfect time to bring back family fairs discontinued in 2012 and adopt a Chicago-style weekend pass. These changes will dramatically improve ridership by making train travel cheaper than driving in the city. To accomplish Governor Baker's objective of greater efficiency, the team must consolidate all trains at a renamed Kingston Plymouth Station on Marion Drive, with its 1,100-car parking lot and easy access to Route 3. This alone would boost ridership by fixing our notorious backward trains, currently a ball and chain holding back efficient operations on the Kingston Plymouth line. It's not too often that a company can reduce its operating costs and boost revenue with one schedule adjustment. Finally, the Kingston Plymouth and Middleborough lines are 20 years old this September, while the Greenbush line has its 10th anniversary this October. It's high time the MBTA pushed the last Boston departures back to 11:20ish, like the other lines, to make these excellent railroads usable for evening events and following. I look forward to working with the TNGOs to make these longer adjustments in time for the spring timetable change. Thank you for your time.
Scotson, be followed by Mike Badavici.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Costin with Yankee Bus Lines out of Boston. We're a private transportation operator as well as a transportation management company. We provide transportation management for such events as Super Bowl and events at the BCEC and events actually all around the country, as well as at your own speaking here today in strong support of the service pilot policy. I think it's a worthwhile to look at, and it makes sense as far as a process for investing in significant capital long-term investments like tracks or taking tops. I would also like to express our desire to work with the MBTA and MassDOT on providing more motor coach transportation options. The motor coach is something that's missing in the overall transportation conversation, and can provide a vital connection between low ridership routes as well as create a more efficient way of transportation. Motor coach has gone through an evolving over the last 20 years. Motor coaches were looked at as the noisy, loud diesel fume buses that you see all around. They evolved into essentially rolling offices with content outlets, Wi-Fi, tray tables, and amenities. So I think it's a viable first one-seat option, one-seat transit option for a lot of communities that is not actually being used for. And we're here and available to be a part of the collective conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Costa. Mike Bassman, please. Followed by Paul.
In the interest of time, everything we're going to do in meetings time. If we do, I don't think we'll leave. Good afternoon, Madam Secretary, Chairman Aiello, and the members of the MBTA Fiscal Management Control Board. My name is Mike Bassman. I'm the Area Director for the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, District 15, otherwise known as the Machinist Union. As you are aware, the district represents thousands of workers here in Massachusetts, as well as the bus maintenance technicians and machinists from Local Lodge 264 that are employed at the MBTA. I stand here today with some of the extremely skilled employees of the Lynn Garage, Quincy Garage, Fellsway Garage, and Arborway Garage, otherwise referred to as Focus 40 garages. These talented technicians keep the bus fleet at these 4 locations running despite working on older buses in outdated and poorly maintained facilities. These employees should be commended, not condemned. Privatizing these garages would have a detrimental effect on the reliability and safety of the fleet, which would be an injustice to the taxpayers of the Commonwealth, the riders who use the system every day, and the employees who have worked hard for the MBTA and deserve to be recognized as a valuable asset and not an expendable cost-cutting target. A couple of weeks ago, I sat here and listened to Mark Ash from Transpro talk about how the MBTA should privatize the bus maintenance. He based his argument on perceived savings, although he could not tell the board where the savings could come from. He also told the board that he had surveyed the riders and said that one of the biggest complaints of the customers was the lack of reliability in the buses. He was asked about the reliability of the buses, and Mr. Ash had to admit that the statistics show that the MBTA buses were the most reliable in the country. I believe it was Director Lane who asked him to explain what he meant in his previous comment. Mr. Ash went on to say that it was perception that the buses were unreliable, and he said that perception was just as important as facts. I could not disagree with Mr. Ash's opinion. Disagree more with Mr. Ash's opinion. Unlike facts, perception can be changed and manipulated through exaggerated statistics, untruths, and as we have all heard recently, alternative facts. I would like to focus on facts today. It is indeed a fact that we are one of the best maintenance departments in the country, as proven by having almost 13,000 miles between breakdowns, which is the best in the country, despite having an aging fleet and working in outdated facilities. What's even more impressive is that I have been told that that number is currently at around 15,000 miles between breakdowns, so it's gone up. It is a fact that the buses are more reliable when those buses are maintained by Machinist Union Local Lodge 264. It is a fact that the riders and the public are safest when riding in the buses maintained by Machinist Union Local Lodge 264. It is a fact that no one can prove that privatization of bus maintenance would save money, any money, while providing the same quality service and that is being performed currently. If they could, the MBTA would not need a 3-year exemption from the Taxpayer Protection Act. It is also a fact that the Machinist Union, Local Lodge 264, is willing to negotiate cost savings that is fair to the taxpayers of this Commonwealth as well as fair to our members. John Adams once said, "Facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, our inclinations, or the dictates of our passion, they cannot alter the state of facts and evidence." I want to commend the board on the work that they have done, and I truly believe that you are trying to do the best for the riders and for the of the MBTA and the taxpayers of the Commonwealth. Believing that, the choice is simple. You must do everything in your power to retain the world-class maintenance team that you currently have here at the MBTA. Thank you.
Eric is on this.
Yes.
Jim O'Brien, followed by Dick Moore.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Madam Secretary, General Manager, Board members. My name is Jim O'Brien, President of the Boston Commons Union. Last year, it was our union, our 4,100 members fighting against privatization to save our jobs and to do what we think is in the best interest of the MBTA, which is keeping public transportation public. After months of conversation and ultimately negotiations, we were able to come to an agreement with the MBTA that not only preserve the jobs of our members, it identified $750 million in cost savings and efficiencies for the MBTA over the next 20 years. It was our hope that our contract negotiations would serve as a roadmap for the MBTA going forward, that management would realize that you do not need a privatization in order to find cost savings. Our agreement is proof of that. The union members you identified as replaceable are in fact an integral part of the MBTA. The employees are the MBTA. They are dedicated to their work and understand the intricacies and complicated system better than any private company ever will. I stand here to remind you that there are other options, and privatization should be the last resort, not the first option put on the table. For months, we have listened to various consultants talk about why work should be privatized, and many have pointed to the privatization of the money room, warehouses, as example of privatization at work. But it's just not that easy. Our members are regularly reporting problems in these divisions. Privatization is not the silver bullet that it should not be treated that way. It is too early to determine if privatization is going to provide the cost savings that were promised. If Keolis is the standard, it doesn't look good. The Boston Commons Union is proud that we're able to reach an agreement with the MBTA that protected our members' jobs and helped the MBTA identify cost savings it needed. But make no mistake about it, we are against privatization of MBTA jobs because we don't believe it is in the best interest of our brothers and sisters, or the MBTA, or the riders. In closing, I want to let you know that I have been hearing from our members in recent weeks. They have expressed real fear about the possibility of the machinists' work being privatized. The men and women driving and operating our buses and trolleys and trains don't want a private contractor coming in and doing this work because they can't trust them. They fear for their own safety and the safety of our riders, not knowing the people who come in can do the job and do it well. The Boston Commons Union stands with the machinists Local 264 because we know they are the best prepared, the most knowledgeable, the most capable, and it's who we trust to get the job done. Thank you.
Dick Moore, please, followed by Edward Tobin.
Good afternoon, everyone. I come here today not as an MBTA employee, but as a resident of the Commonwealth, taxpayer of the Commonwealth, and someone who rides a team, whose family rides a team. I sit here and I listen to everything being said, what the Army Institute, what they've come up with. My question to them is, these are all old numbers. They are up there talking about 2013's numbers, 2015 numbers. Folks, that's all in the past. If you look at, today's statistics, and buses aren't the buses of old. These are highly technical vehicles. And I think in my own opinion, and the numbers show that the amount of knowledge, experience it takes to work on that these men and women already have. And in closing, and like I've said before, the T strives to be the best in the country. And in bus maintenance, you already have that. You know, some of these numbers, they're not talking about individual garages, but I know Lynn, they're up around, usually around 50,000 miles between breakdowns. You know, Quincy, one of the smallest and most outdated facilities you have, averages between 25 and 30,000. That 13, 15,000 number, that's all buses can buy, that's all garages can buy. But some of the ones that they want to privatize are 3 or 4 times that. You know, and under the working conditions at those facilities, it amazes me every day. You know, and if our model was to provide the best ridership for people who are on the line, like I've said before, bus maintenance is already there. That's something you need to think about. That's all I have to say today.
Andrew Tobin, be followed by Stephen Kaiser.
Good afternoon, thank you. We come here to talk about reception. Reception, well, the Pioneer Institute gets to write their own articles in the paper. I don't. Okay? Reception is this, subliminal on the radio. Keolis goes down on certain lines. They send buses to help them out. Marathon bombing, they send buses to help the citizens of whenever there's an issue, the buses are there. 2015, the winter, the trains went down, the buses were still running. The buses were still out on the roads. The buses are the best. The buses are the last defense of supporting the MBTA. Okay? We can write all sorts of numbers and articles, but it's the buses. That's the last defense that the MBTA has. And it keeps fighting. It works under stress conditions, but we still get the job done. Pioneer Institute probably has their commercial or their article ready to go on the paper right after this meeting. I don't. I have 2 minutes. I don't think it's clear. We do a great job. We try to do the best we can. What we have, we get it done. We have to make a pot, we'll make the pot. A lot of times we don't have pots, we'll find a way. Get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tobin. Steve Kaiser, please, to be followed by Bill Henning.
Yes, I'd like to speak to item I on the agenda, which is crowding buses. Buses are sort of unique because almost all of them have to work on the surface. You have to work on roads, traffic congestion, traffic lights, double parking, all those sorts of things. Tend to mess up schedules. So years ago, the MBTA used to have 5 traffic engineers on staff. And they would help out to see that the buses were able to move along and not be caught in congestion. 1980, they were off the fire. We never had traffic engineers brought back up. So what we could really use in order to deal with the issue of crowding the buses is a good look at how do we move the buses in a better way so we reduce the amount of crowding. There's 2 major ways of doing that. One is to run our buses, which is very expensive. And the other is to speed up what buses you have. You can do that with special bus lanes. You can do it with purpose stops. You can do it with revised traffic timing. A number of things like this. But we need a program that's going to be able to look at the possibility of doing those things. The thing that buses don't have, and you do have rapid transit, is the ability to close down the doors and say, "We're leaving." I've never seen that done on a bus. The bus comes up 25 seconds, we're gone. So that keeps everything last word on public service F. It's a term the traffic engineers use quite a bit. Public service E is defined as capacity, maximum number of people, cars, buses, and children. Public service F is where things will get up. And there are many situations where the actual flow of passengers and cars, whatever it is, goes down. So you've got higher demand in rush hours and lower capacity in your trains and buses. So the key thing for the traffic youth is to try to keep the capacity up there. So it's an E.
Followed by, Jim Kessler. Jill Kessler.
Thank you for letting me speak. I really think just to try and explain to this board and the other people at the meeting what the ride service means to me. I think that the ride allows me to take care of myself medically. Just recently I had a broken leg, I was wheelchair bound, and there was no way without a van that I could get out of my house to medical appointments, that I could even get to the stores, to grocery shopping. I had no food in the house for almost a week and a half. That there's no way to lead a normal life. My 94-year-old mother also takes the ride when I can convince her to do it. And there wouldn't be any way that either she and I could get together, or that she could see other people or go to the store. And the problem is, at that age, or when you're having medical issues, if you're stuck with no way to get out, then you're home. And the longer you're home, the longer you're inclined to stay home and not get involved with other people, become a member of society, and at the same time give back to society and spend money in the stores, going shopping and doing things with people and having a normal life. And while I realize that from Quincy, which is where I live, I could take the train. Can you imagine in a wheelchair I could get onto a train in Quincy? Can you imagine me getting off the train, the commuter rail, going all the way down, wheeling myself down into the station, and then wheeling myself? That wouldn't happen. So the likelihood is I just wouldn't end up going anywhere. Okay, I just want to say that people, especially premium areas, are the places where there isn't any alternative. So if you're in a premium area and there is no train, and there is no bus, and there is no tea, and then there's no ride, you're even more isolated and more stuck in situations with bad weather. I really appreciate what I have with the ride, and it's really important, especially for people who have much more long-term problems. And I hope that people can work together, Mass DOT and other agencies, to come up with a solution and not just cut us. Thank you very much.
Bill Henning with Boston Center for Independent Living. Thanks for the chance to speak again this week. I just want to reiterate a point I've made in other forums with the FMCB, and that is historically the ride has not been managed well. And this is never a comment on the staff who are very dedicated, just like these machinists are, to trying to do a really good job. The system was not managed. I've been around this building for over a dozen years. I was told, I've said this to the board before, by one of the previous GMs, chief of staff, and I'm not going to name any names, but we don't manage that. That's out in left field. So now, in the last couple of years, we're trying to manage the ride, and I think that's good. That's what the governor is about. The governor said it's about better management and maybe not about more money. I'm not going to get into that dispute. But the mantra was manage it, and that's where we're moving. We're working collaboratively. I think that's how we have to proceed with this, and not just have a cut. It would be very beneficial, of course, to take that cut off the table. Senior Action asks for a motion. Boston Center for Independent Living soundly endorses that. So
you, but it will be a whole lot easier if that's off and we can look at this very objectively in the guise of management. Thank you very much.
Followed by Amy Rowe.
I'm Clerk Warren. I'm actually going to speak on behalf of Amy and my own organization. Amy is the president of the National Federation of the Blind. I am a spokesman for the Bay State Council of the Blind. And I want to echo a lot of what Bill just said. One of the things, in the last FMCB meeting, the board very astutely asked for some numbers. Basically came down to, what caused the variance between fiscal year 16 and 17. What was there a change in the demand shift, or the unit cost shift? We're asking to see all those same numbers as the task force. I belong to the task force. Very much believe that we need to be attacking the cost side, the unit cost of delivering a trip, not by solving a budget dilemma by offloading demand. Just by attacking the demand side does not attack the systemic issues that may exist within the operations of the ride. It was funny, at the Bay State Council of the Blind Convention, I was the first person to speak. People who are able-bodied often say that they feared blindness as one of the areas of disability. Obviously, everybody fears every aspect of disability, but blindness is especially feared. If you're asking a blind person what they fear the most is the loss of transportation. And everybody at that convention had gotten there on the ride. Every single person, except maybe me and some Uber. It was absolutely remarkable. Now, we are working together collaboratively. There was a meeting this morning, there's going to be another meeting tomorrow. The one thing that I take issue with in terms of how that was communicated to us on Friday was that we were collaboratively on solutions. And the last sentence of the email said, service cuts will be considered only as a matter of last resort. What we clearly have been saying last week and this week is that we are willing to consider alternatives, but we will not accept any cuts in service without a viable alternative to replace that service immediately. We cannot afford to have anybody in the community suffer or be damaged by the loss of that service. There are a lot of people that would be speaking on their own behalf who aren't here because they got to work from the premium area to work in the inner city as a result of the premium area. So again, we absolutely do not accept this last resort thinking. We are very, very happy that we will work, and we are very, very committed to seeking alternatives. We are very, very committed to the sustainability of this. Simply solving the budget problem by dumping demand is not a sustainable solution to the problem. Thank you.
We'll go to Mark Gallagher to be followed by David McElford. Go right to David McElford to be followed by Mark Bartlett.
Good afternoon. My name is David Miguel. I'm CEO of NAO, Commercial Association. We want to commend the NCB and the MBTA for progress that has been made in making the MBTA more efficient and fiscally responsible transportation operation. The steps that have been taken today have reduced the operating deficit and allowed for more money to be invested in T's capital. Obviously, that's an important issue because as we know about the backlog that we have, that T will never be fully successful unless it can invest in its own operations. We understand that there are a number of issues that have been looked at as far as privatizing today. I know that one of them is under consideration, and that is to deal with risk maintenance. There are a lot of questions as far as the costs are concerned and how competitive the maintenance operation is here, certainly compared to others across the country. It appears that there's a very high cost of operation,
many of the aspects of the MBTA have been looked at with a critical eye. And I think part of the problem is that we've had a budget that has been basically an open-ended budget. I think this is the responsibility of this administration. Finally, we're taking a look and making a judgment as far as where our money is invested and best used while maintaining very high caliber as far as the performance and ridership is concerned. NAB was one of the organizers of the Coalition for World-Class Transit System, and it was formed 2 years ago in the very difficult times that we had right at that point in time. Right now, obviously, times are a little different, but the same challenges are with the MBTA. We encourage the board to move forward, taking a look at this particular issue as well as others. Thank you very much.
Boom. Bartlett, please. That concludes the folks who had signed up. If you didn't call your name, if you had signed up, or if you would like to speak out, indicate so. Hearing none. And please identify yourself when you approach the microphone.
My name is Sean Hardy, and I'm from Lexington. As a long-time lifelong resident of Massachusetts and 25 plus resident of the Boston area, I implore this board, first of all, I would like to thank this board and the MBTA for your service to the Commonwealth and the residents of the greater Boston area. But I would like to implore this board to reconsider cutting the ride premium service. 8 years ago, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I yet reached the brain old age of 59. I rely heavily, almost completely on the ride, and I am in the premium service area. If this service is cut, I, along with many other people, at least 100 times a week, will be affected and will lose a great deal of independence in the wintertime and throughout bad weather throughout the year. I am unable to get out of my house to go anywhere, doctor's appointments, support groups, grocery store, just get out of my house, get a little bit of space. If you cut the premium ride service, you will be impacting the most vulnerable of the Commonwealth's residents, the elderly and the disabled. We are the ones who cannot go out and stand up on TV and tell of our problems and the fact that we would like to bring our children into Boston to go to a museum or to go to a ball game. And therefore, we need the right, we need the weekend commuter map. I urge you strongly, as I said before, to consider the fact that premium ride service altogether serves the most vulnerable of your constituents. And the people that speak the loudest, you will hurt the most. And I've heard people say that you can cut demand, it's actually cutting service.
none, thank you very much. That'll conclude the public period. We'll move on to item C. Today we just have one set of board minutes, Tuesday, which is March 20th. I get a motion to approve the minutes of March 20th, 2017. Second? Discussion? None? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. We'll move on to item D, the report of
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, members of the secretary. I'm going to cover, following from last week, a quick update on our RIDE FY17 trending budget, and also just a recap of the bus routes. We signed a new contract this week. That's what we did for the routes that private routes. And finally, following up on last week's discussion, this is a snapshot of the fiscal 17 budget for the RIDE, which is $92 million. We expect to run $17 million over budget. There's three big components of the budget. The largest is the delivery of the traditional RIDE service, that'll be about $20.5 million over budget. The call center that we put in this year, which is the new central call center, will be below budget by about $1.3 million. The pilot program will be below budget, so I think we spent about $300,000 this year in the pilot, small, certainly hope to grow that, given the terrific customer response we got from the price point. I think the current course is going to finish this year at $17 million. We were meeting this morning, if that Tuesday, my grammar hosted on some of the variance analysis questions, which are around fiscal. This is fiscal 17 budget to actual. Some questions that Rick brought up this morning about fiscal 16 to 17. I think we put some of that material out this morning in the task force. We can certainly cover that publicly next week as well. But this, I think, is where we're heading for this year, with 4 months to go in this year on the RIDE. Any questions?
One of the issues the board raised last week, would be helpful to get answers. What's driving that? Is it increased eligibility determinations, increased cost per ride, or increased number of riders in combination?
So the biggest, this is budget action, not last year, this year. So the biggest driver was there was a goal to reduce usage by $10 million this year, which has not materialized. That would be that $10 million, which hasn't materialized. Your question would be from 16 to 17. We have that as well. I have a slide we can certainly share it. Some of the stakeholders on this one.
last week we heard, and sorry, Mr. Beginning of this. We heard from Jim White and others the fact that we have put some of these reforms into play that have been in play for long enough to understand the effect, as an example, the call center being implemented. We have a sense of sort of how impactful some of this stuff will be in the next couple of weeks.
Well, I think the pilot's a good place to start. Great response from customers, it's very popular, the price point is cheap, so I think as that scales, that can have a very significant impact. It's still really small, we think we'll deliver 20,000, 30,000 this year. On the call center, we have it operating in one region right now. It's early, as of July 1st, it'll be operating everywhere, so I don't want to speculate on how we'll like that choose to work as closely with this one. Certainly come July, we expect the pilot in place fully, it will promote it, the call center enables us to direct the trip, so without the call center, the calls go directly to each of the vendors. With the call center, we get the phone calls, we can direct them. So we hope that will reduce the price point.
One of the things I felt I was hearing last week from the testimony from the presentation was that we have a number of customers for whom the pilot program would be appropriate, would provide an appropriate level of service. It seemed as if there were issues with the interface, issues with people actually being comfortable using the service. And curious, and I don't expect this to be at your fingertips, but do we have room to promote the service more for the appropriate population and to either do some more training so that people become more familiar with the service and are comfortable with the interface, or do we have any way to mitigate, for folks who don't have the appropriate technology to use the interface, do we have any way to mitigate kind of these obstacles to using the service? And I don't know if that means dispatching through the call center or something else, but I would be hopeful. I thought the testimony from Rick was very interesting that, the key here seems to be mitigating the unit cost. And the way you would mitigate the unit cost is to get people using the pilot program. I guess I want to be sure that we attack that issue from every angle.
I appreciate the questions, Rick, and Bill, both on the task force, so I think next week when we do a detailed deep dive, I can't speak to it, but that's one topic they're discussing, we can certainly discuss. No doubt, for people that use the pilot, they really like it, and the price is about $9 a trip versus $46, so in that sense, I think it's very possible. But how we get more people to use it, how we train on for the task force, we'll talk about that next week.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to invoke a point of privilege here. I'd like to make a motion to remove the proposal to suspend premium service for the ride from the fiscal year 18 budget deliberations. Well, I would simply say that I've been very moved by the testimony over the last two meetings. It's compelling. I think that we have a lot of work to do in reining in the cost of the ride. I would suggest that we work with the stakeholders at doing that and actually set up a system of accountability to do that. But until we do that within that type of framework, I would say that it's not appropriate to be suspending premium services.
I'd like to sort of think about perhaps an additional amendment to that motion, which is that I would like to make sure that, we've been talking about this since we got here, about 18 months, and we've tried some pilot action. But I think as Steve just described, we're making some good progress, but in order to achieve what we want to achieve, and not have our ability to control costs, but yet adopting the motion negatively impacts transit authority. I'd like to see a specific plan with her due back on the 10th, possibly someday that week, for final budget deliberations. And I know it's only 2 weeks, not every day we talked about, but it seemed to me that the working group that we've got, the advocacy community, and I could come back with a set of specific accelerators for the next fiscal year that could achieve uptake of the pilot, make sure that the impacts of the call center can be maximized in the next fiscal year. I'd be comfortable moving forward if we sort of just cause everybody to do a 2-week blitz and come to the table with a specific plan at our meeting. That'd be an amendment I would like to add to that.
I see it as a friendly amendment, keeping with the spirit that raised the proposal.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we would need to expedite some sort of plan for them, especially around the training, how to get more using So I would like to see a plan utilizing, you know, potentially our emergency training center or something to start training people on how to fix your system or be able to use one of our pilot systems. So I think currently there's what, 600 people in the pilot.
In the Uber Lyft pilot.
Yes.
There are other pilots going on. There's Brian, answer your question, Uber Lyft is 700 people.
Because I think we've heard a number of people at this point that, you know, I think.
Just so I understand what we're voting on is a motion to suspend the current proposal regarding premium service upon the condition of the delivery of a credible plan that is accepted by the board for savings in the same timeframe as the budget.
Perfect. By the April. If there is any other discussion or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me get to the next topic here, Winthrop bus routes. Winthrop bus routes, we awarded a contract this week. It's a small contract for 6 buses. This is an exciting day for riders in Winthrop. The earlier version of this contract that's been placed for the last